Hey, well, we're out here today. We're going to be testing the FN57. I've seen a lot of videos online of various 5.7 ballistics as well as penetration. We're out here today to see how the penetration is on a vehicle for possibly tactical purposes, either shooting through a vehicle to engage someone or shooting out of a car to engage someone as well. We're going to be starting off with the ss195lf, the blue box. The velocity is somewhere around 2,000 feet a minute, give or take. And we're going to be testing it on this car at various points, through the doors, through the trunk, through the hood, and see what the penetration is. I have lined the entire car with cardboard paper. We're going to try to track the rounds as best we can. Hopefully that's going to work out well, but here we'll see real shortly. I can shoot 2 rounds at a time. This is going to be test number 1. I'm going to be firing 2 rounds of the ss195lf through the passenger door to see if it's going to go through the passenger door and in or through the driver's door. I'm going to be firing 2 rounds and we'll track them as we go. So I took 2 consecutive shots right here. Okay, so it definitely went through the door. I'm going to start marking these because we may start doing some other things. Obviously went through the door. Looks like it hit the seats here, but did not penetrate all the way through. I'm going to take a couple more shots and go a little bit higher so we're not going through the seats. Okay, so I went up through the door here. It did punch through here. It did go through the center console. Well, not through the center console, but it did go through the paper there, and it looks like it penetrated into the other door. And in fact, we had at least one exit. Looks like we got potentially two different penetration marks there, and looks like one came out. We do have some fragments in here of the bullet coming through. We did rip some of the paper here, so there were some things throwing around, but certainly if you were to fire tactically through one door, you're going to hit both occupants most likely, and the bullet might exit out the other door for certain. So that's going to be our test number 1. I am going to do test number 2 here shortly. Okay, this is going to be test number 2. We're going to shoot from inside of the car out. Obviously we know that we're penetrating from one side to the other. We're just testing to see, should you happen to be in the driver's seat and for whatever reason you have to engage someone outside your car, you don't necessarily have to roll down the window and stick the gun out. You could take a tactical shot like this. So we're going to simulate that with 2 shots. I'm just going to stick the gun in there and shoot through the car to simulate what you would be doing. Inside of the door. Which looks like they both came out there. I shot them very close together, and that's exactly what happened. 2 shots here. Fully exited the door together there. We'll go on to test number 3. Okay, this is going to be test number 3. We're going to shoot through the hood hopefully through the dash and into the driver's seat. So we're going to see how this test goes. So I'm not going to go through the windshield just yet. I'm going to try to go through the hood, which should then enter the back part of the dash and hopefully come out the front. Let's take a look. I don't see any penetration, so that's going to be stopping the bullet somewhere in the dash. I don't think even raising the hood we're going to be able to see what happened. Yeah, it looks like it might have skipped alongside the hood. Actually, here's one of the bullets right here, or a fragment of it. So shooting through the hood into the occupant is going to be a no-go. Next, we'll test the windshield. Our next test is going to be through the windshield and see how far the bullet goes. I'm expecting it to go through the windshield and probably through the seat into the back seat. So obviously have penetration through the windshield. It threw glass all over. It looks like it may have went into the dash but did not exit, which I'm very surprised. Very interesting. I thought for sure it would go all the way through. Okay. We're still doing testing on the FN57. I've switched rounds. We are now going to be using the law enforcement ones that are 27 grain ss198lf. We're going to duplicate some of the tests we've already done to see if there's a significant difference or a difference in any of the other penetrations. So we went through the front door last time. We're going to go through the back door this time and see exactly what happened. So obviously, it's going through the back door, shattering out the glass, and the question is going to be whether it went through the other side. Curiously not. Huh. That I was not expecting. Looks like we did make it into the door here. But it certainly didn't exit the other one. I may have hit, you know, the extra glass on that side was probably the variable. That window was rolled down partial way. And so I think I'm going to take a second shot at it. If you want to keep it rolling, I'm going to shoot a little bit lower and see if we can't go all the way through. Definitely went through the door here with significant force that blew out part of the plastic over there. Looks like it entered in over here, but again, did not go all the way through the door. That is not what I was expecting, but there's the ballistics on the 198 SS or LF. Okay, now we've surmised that the law enforcement 198 LF will not penetrate both sides. I am going to take a couple shots through one side of the door to again simulate should you have someone come up alongside your car and you need to engage through the door. Of course here we had at least one penetration through. It must be going in there and tumbling because we have about I tried to shoot about a 6-inch spread. One definitely came through, and it looks like one might have hit up a little bit higher. So the bullets are definitely going in there and doing some tumbling. I did do some testing on 2x6s, and it went through 3 of the 2x6s, and most of the rounds were sideways into the 4th one. So these bullets do tumble as they're going through. I'm a little bit more impressed with the penetration on the 197s than the 198. Next, we're going to go through the windshield. Okay, now again, we're using the 198 LFs. I am going to shoot through the windshield and hopefully into the passenger seat, and then track to see if it actually goes through the passenger seat. And this is going to be with the 198s. Okay, it certainly went through the windshield. Looks like we probably have penetration there and there as well. We do have fragmentation and a penetration coming through the back seat, but not going into the back part of the seat. So I'm not sure if that's fragmentation coming through because I really can't see. I was hoping I could maybe find the bullet in here, but with all the glass I'm not going to pick through too much. But the 190, that's not going to mark these. So the 198s made it through the windshield, through the driver's seat, and somewhere into the back seat. I have switched back to the 195 LFs to do a test through the windshield to see how it compares with the alternate grains and velocity, to see what kind of penetration we get through the windshield, hopefully through the front seat into the back seat, because the red box law enforcement rounds didn't do it. Okay, so we do have 2 penetration holes again. Windshield through the, or at least into the driver's or the passenger seat. And we have at least one full exit, but this one did not hit the seat. So it looks like the one that did hit the seat stayed in the seat. This one penetrated into the back seat there. And I'm wondering if it made it through there into the trunk. Which it did not make it into the trunk. So we'll continue testing. Okay, we are continuing to shoot the blue box, the 195 LFs. I'm going to attempt to shoot through the trunk into the back passenger seat and see if it will travel into the front seats at all. So I'm going to take a couple shots and try to hit the passenger seat. So here we got penetration in, as well as fragmentation. I can smell it burning in here, or a burnt smell. Looks like it did travel through the back seat into the front seat with at least one. That's going to be in. This is interesting. Okay, so now we have out from the trunk and into the dash. And I'm sure it didn't go through the motor, but it did go through the trunk lid, into the back seat, out of the back seat, into the passenger seat, out of the passenger seat, and into the dashboard. And maybe we'll pull that off later and see where, if it went into, or if we can track it any further than that. But that is pretty impressive. Okay, since we've been doing all the testing on all those high performance rounds, I've got a box of American Eagle. They are 40 grain, much heavier than the 27 grain bullets that we have been shooting. We're going to test basically the same things we've been testing with the high performance rounds to actually see what happens. So I'm going to shoot through this door and see if it makes it through the car and into the other side or out. So we have penetration in for sure. I've put both the rounds pretty close. I'm only seeing possibly one come out there, and it looks like it's definitely going all the way through. But it did not exit this side. It did come in, looks like right here, with a straight round. Some of these all look like they're tumbling, but these are definitely straight through. That is the American Eagle. One round made it through. But did not exit. Again, we're going to take a couple shots with the American Eagle round. I'm going to shoot from the inside through the door. I'm expecting it fully to go all the way through, but there's been a couple surprising things today, so we'll see. So as expected, actually, one made it through, one did not. Obviously there's a lot of variance in the doors. You could be hitting the window motor, some other things in there. But there is still deep penetration even with the practice round. Okay, we're going to be shooting the blue blocks again, the 195lfs. I'm going to shoot through the back glass, trying to engage the driver, so I'm hoping it goes through the glass and through the seat and hopefully out through the front. So definitely made it through the back. I did skirt through parts of the back seat on the top. It did penetrate the back seat. Looks like some in fragments, some not. Did penetrate through the driver's seat coming out, and looks like it made it into the steering wheel area and possibly into the dash. So I'm not sure what the difference is in the windshields, but the back glass and the trunk penetration have been going all the way through. That is pretty impressive. This test, we're going to try to shoot through the trunk from the outside, through the trunk, and see if it comes out the other side. We are again using the ss195s. We have entry on one side and exit here, which is, it's basically just going through metal, so that was kind of expected, I guess. Yep, straight through. Okay, so I kind of want to do a conclusion to these tests. I initially did these tests because the first time I put my hands on a 5.7, I loved the feel. I knew about the penetration of it and the general all-around aspects of it, but when I went online, I couldn't really find a whole lot of actual tests on different things except for going through a jug of water or shooting a ham or stuff like that. And I wanted to give it a more practical experience, if you would, if you needed to shoot into a car, especially from a law enforcement perspective or a self-defense perspective, if you need to shoot out of the car at somebody or protect yourself in that way. So that's why I started to do these videos, to kind of get a feel for that. And I know there's all kinds of different variances. This is a particular car. It's not going to go through another car the identical way, but I'm hoping it's going to be similar and that it helps in one way or another. So we did test 3 different rounds: the 195, the 198, and the American Eagle round. And I did mention a 197. However, I did not even shoot the 197, if there is such a thing. I'm not for sure, but what we found, or what I found, was that the 195s had the most penetration. They easily went through one side of the car and out the other, as well as through the seats or through the trunk, through the seats, into the dashboard. So I was very impressed with the 195 SS's. I had higher expectations for the 198 because they were kind of thrown out there as a law enforcement only round, and I just expected them to have a little bit more penetration than what they did, or at least more than the 195, because they were flying a little bit hotter. And the American Eagle rounds were by themselves relatively impressive. Didn't have as great as penetration, but it certainly did. So I just wanted to throw these videos out there. I hope it helps everybody that takes a look at this. If you'd like to see something else, I'd be happy to try to test it in different circumstances with different types of material. But again, just wanted to get this basic thing out there and see how everything goes. So if you're watching these videos, I appreciate it. Please like them if you like them, and make some comments. Appreciate it, and y'all take care.